Welcome back, Chimera crew, to another episode of Wildcard Wednesday here on Chimera Miniatures. Today we're going to be doing some Am I the Jerk content. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that's a subreddit. It's really Am I the, posterior hole. Sorry, editing for the algorithm. But people are in situations with drama, and they aren't entirely sure whether they're in the wrong or not. So they go to Reddit, they ask internet strangers, and the internet strangers give them, honest opinions. I've been trying to find content that will engage you, the audience, while the lost media content is stable. It's still coming in with most videos getting under 500 views, and the stuff we've been trying on Wildcard Wednesday just really hasn't seemed to hit home with the viewers. So I put up a poll, asked if you wanted to see some of this kind of content, as I do enjoy it myself, and it was, of the people who voted, it was an astounding yes. So we're going to try this and see if it does well. We'll do more in the future, so here we go. And one more thing before we get started, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also consider checking my links. Buy a mini, it makes a great holiday gift for the nerd in your life. Okay, now let's begin. AITA, my friends turned on me after I started hybrid school. Hey everybody, today I'm sharing a story that's been bugging me for a while. I just need to get it off my chest, and maybe you all can help me figure out if I'm in the wrong here. So here's the situation. I'm a teen, and I recently switched to hybrid schooling. It's mostly online, 3 classes at home and 1 in person. The change was mainly because of my epilepsy. I've been dealing with an unknown type of epilepsy that even my doctors can't fully figure out. I have seizures almost every other week, which honestly I'm kind of used to by now. But the school nurses, staff, and my parents were really worried, so we decided hybrid school was the best option for me. When I first told my friends, they were super supportive. They were like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy for you. This is probably the best thing for you considering how many seizures you have." At the time, I didn't think much of it. I was just relieved they seemed to get it. At first, we all stayed in touch. We texted almost daily, but over time, things changed. Slowly, their replies started getting shorter. A simple "okay here" or just a thumbs up on my messages. Eventually they stopped texting altogether. I tried to keep reaching out, but honestly, what's the point when it feels so one-sided? After a while, I gave up. Then one day, I ran into them in the hallway at school. They gave me this small glare, but still came up to talk to me, like they hadn't been ignoring me for the past 2 months. I kept it simple, just nodded or gave a quick "okay." The bell rang, and instead of sticking around, I went straight to class. A week later, one of them texted me out of the blue, acting like everything was normal. I left her on read. A few days later, I saw her talking with another friend in the hallway, and they both glanced at me but didn't say a word. It didn't stop there. Halloween rolled around, and one of them showed up in some costume from an album cover. I don't even remember who she was supposed to be. She came up to me and asked, "Do you like my costume?" Honestly, I was over it at this point, so I said, kind of in a bitchy tone, "I don't know, it looks really emo. Are you dressed as an emo for Halloween?" Now, she didn't look emo exactly, but her outfit was mostly black, and I said it because I remembered how much she used to complain about being called emo. She'd even say things like she hated emos because they're, in her words, black freaks. Yeah, wild. Anyway, she just gave me a dirty look and didn't say anything. I felt kind of bad afterwards, but at the same time, I didn't. There's been a lot of petty back and forth between us lately, but this feels like the main stuff. So now I'm left wondering, am I the asshole here? I don't know if I should even try to make things better because, honestly, I can't stand her anymore. But it's complicated. My mom's friend with the principal at the school. I'm the polite, quiet girl that the teachers love, but once you get to know me, I can be pretty intense. I stress over everything, and this situation is no exception. So what do you think? Am I the jerk, or should I just let it go and move on? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening. I really needed to rant. Alright guys, I'm gonna say this is gonna be an odd one. This is an everyone sucks and no a-holes in one. You and your friends are all being petty high school girls. Your friends aren't supporting you during a rough time in your life, but at the same time, rather than confronting them and sharing your emotions, you're being kind of a petty bitch. But at the same time, there are no jerks here because, again, you're all a bunch of petty high schoolers, and high school friendships demand constant contact in order to be maintained. That's why after you leave high school and you go off to college or to work or whatever, you typically lose track and lose touch with your high school friends because, again, you all were friends due mostly to proximity. Like, you found the people in the school you had to attend that you could stand to be around. And while, yes, sometimes lifelong friendships can emerge from that, a lot of it, you are friends of convenience and proximity. And due to you being at home for most of your schooling, you no longer have that proximity. So, the way that that started off keeping in touch with texting, and then that slowly kind of went away, and now when you see each other in the halls on rare occasions, you don't really know how to interact. That's because you're not seeing each other all the time. So the friendship is dissipating. These friendships, this kind of one, it doesn't really seem like it really matters because, again, you're all going to go through your own things. You're going to grow away. You're going to go apart. But again, make high school a little more bearable. Just open up your feelings to these people. Whether you stay friends or not, who cares? But don't keep it all pent up inside. And also, I'm the good student that everyone loves, but when you get to know me, I can be pretty intense. Yep. Real high schooler thing to say. So you're all jerks, but it doesn't matter because you're all high schoolers. Next up, we have a story entitled AITA for quitting my business partnership with my wife after she refused to listen to me. Hi, I'm a 35-year-old woman, and my wife, who's 30, and I met about a year ago. She's a civil engineer and runs her own company. At the time, I was working as a physical therapist in the ICU. When we started dating, she mentioned she was struggling with the administration side of her business. Since my job had me working every other night, I offered to help her out during my free time. What started as helping out a few days a week quickly turned into helping every single day. Eventually, I decided to quit my job entirely to become her full-time business partner. The business was thriving, and honestly, it seemed like a great decision. I could make more money, and she often complimented me, saying I had a knack for leadership and design. But here's the catch. Working and living together 24/7 started creating some serious problems. My wife is incredibly controlling and struggles to take accountability when she's wrong. Things boiled over yesterday when we brought her 3-year-old nephew, her brother's son, to a site visit. We're currently building a pergola, and she started to get visibly anxious as things fell behind schedule. In her frustration, she violently yanked a cover off some wooden beams. I asked her 3 times to stop because it was dangerous. Someone could get hurt, but she ignored me. Sure enough, the beams came crashing to the floor with a loud noise. Our nephew was absolutely terrified. That's when I snapped. I yelled at her to stop rushing things, and she turned to me with this furious look. The staff on site looked uncomfortable and embarrassed by the whole scene. On the drive back, I suggested I take our nephew home to calm things down, but she wouldn't hear it. She shouted at me, saying he was her nephew, and insisted on taking him herself. She also lashed out, saying I had no right to call her out in front of the staff. At that point, I was so frustrated, I just left. Later that night, we argued for hours. This wasn't the first time she's dismissed my concerns or refused to set clear boundaries for my role in the business. She doesn't want me to stick to office work, but gets angry when I try to address issues, even in private. This morning, she told me she thinks our relationship is doomed because, in her words, if I have so many problems with her work, I'll probably leave her personally too. Honestly, I feel lost. I don't think I was wrong to end the partnership. It just wasn't working. But am I the a-hole for walking away? So this one, guys, is definitely an everyone sucks here, and let me explain why. Now, first of all, the OP is technically not a jerk for not wanting to be a part of this business anyway, but this situation is toxic and it's kind of everybody's fault. One, OP is very clear that this is her wife, who she met a year ago, meaning that they went from meeting to dating to marrying in under a year, which is not good, people. It's just not good. So they've put themselves, not only did they move super fast, but they've entwined not only their domestic life, but their professional lives. And essentially, the OP is working as the administrative assistant for her wife, which is definitely, you talk about your wife being controlling, well, you have allowed yourself to be in a position where you are her subordinate. We then look at the situation where the administrative assistant was on site when she shouldn't normally be on site and undermined the civil engineer, her boss, in front of an entire crew. And that's just kind of a breach of etiquette. But again, it gets messy when you're married, when you're a couple and technically business partners, even though your wife has the kind of controlling role. That being said, your wife sounds like an absolute nutcase. She won't take responsibility for her mistakes. She's rash. She apparently can put people in danger. But at the same time, she doesn't see her family as your family. So ultimately, she's also a bad partner, just like you are kind of a bad business partner. Like, you guys have problems with the roles you are each taking in each other's lives. And ultimately, I view this as because you moved into this way too fast, and you should probably just cut ties and divorce and just move on. You're not a good fit. If you spent more time dating, you would have realized this, but everything is doomed. Everyone sucks. All right, guys, moving into our next story. AITA for not caring that my ex has cancer. Let me explain. I'm a 27-year-old woman, and this story begins with my first relationship, which started right after high school. It lasted 4 years, and to be honest, it was a disaster from the start. I was this shy, socially awkward, straight-laced kid. He, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. Outgoing, a partier, a risk-taker, and someone who didn't seem to take life seriously at all. In hindsight, we never should have dated. The relationship was a train wreck. One of my biggest deal breakers was smoking, for personal reasons. I just couldn't handle it in a partner. He promised me he didn't smoke, but guess what? He lied. And it wasn't just that. Every time I caught him in a lie, there was begging, crying, and promises to change. And gullible me, I always gave in. It got worse. Not only did he lie about smoking, but he lied about everything. He told people I was a gold digger, even though I paid for 70% of our dates and let him crash at my place. He didn't respect my boundaries when it came to intimacy. He even admitted he almost cheated on me. He was unreliable, always late, and made me feel like the worst version of myself. Eventually, after 4 years, he dumped me. He told me he hated me and was embarrassed to be seen with me. Yeah, it stung. I was heartbroken. Being in such a manipulative relationship had left me drained and attached to him in an unhealthy way. I didn't have a sense of identity, and I hadn't taken the time to develop one over those years. Fast forward 9 months, out of nowhere, he messaged me on my birthday with this gem. I know there's nothing to be happy about right now, but happy birthday. At that moment, something in me clicked. I realized I was actually flourishing during lockdown, so whatever he was dealing with, not my problem. I told him to delete my number and then blocked him everywhere. That was the end of it, or so I thought. 5 years later, I'm happy. Life is good. And then out of the blue, my best friend messaged me. She said my ex reached out to her. He wanted to send me a letter because, in his words, he assumed I was still mad at him. Oh, and here's the kicker. He wanted to thank me for a lot of things and invite me to his funeral because he has stage 3 cancer. My response? What's any of that got to do with me? My friend was shocked. She admitted he hadn't treated me well, but she thought what he was going through was awful. Others chimed in, sharing similar sentiments. And look, I'm not heartless. What he's going through is devastating, but it has nothing to do with me. My circle is small, but I'm ride or die for the people in it. He removed himself from my life a long time ago. I gave him my email for the letter, but honestly, I don't feel obligated to have more empathy for someone who treated me like garbage. So what do you think? Am I a jaded a-hole for not caring, or am I right to prioritize my peace? OP, you are 100% not the jerk in this story. Your ex is a piece of garbage, and it looks like karma is finally coming to collect with postage due. Here's the thing, guys. Sometimes bad things happen to bad people, and while bad things happening is tragic, you don't have to feel bad about it when the person who it's happening to did those things to you. We are not required to have sympathy for the damned. I once had a boss who basically tried to screw me over in every way he could because he was lazy. And we'll call him Greg. And someone later told me, hey, did you hear Greg died? And I just said, good. Forget Greg. Forget him right up the A. Was my comment insensitive? Sure, but I'm not required to have sympathy for someone who I didn't have a good opinion of. This thing happens when people pass on that we need to portray them as saints, that we can't speak ill of the dead. And you know what? If someone was a bad person in life after they've passed, they were still a bad person. And OP's boyfriend isn't even gone yet. He still has time to make actual amends to people besides writing letters and saying sorry. Like, maybe he should reach out. Maybe he should make the most of his time and do some charity work or something. Who knows? But, oh, I'm so sorry. He's just trying to stay in OP's life and still manipulate her right into his grave. So, no, OP, you're not the jerk here. And good riddance to bad rubbish. All right, guys, let's do one more. AITA for threatening to call the police after my boyfriend's aunt stole my Coachella ticket. I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably not, but let's look at the story. So, am I the a-hole for standing up to my boyfriend's aunt when she stole my Coachella ticket? Here's the story. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years, and during that time, I got to know his aunt pretty well. We were actually pretty close. Recently, though, she's been living with his parents because she cheated on her husband, and now her boyfriend lives there too. My boyfriend and I moved into an apartment a while back, but because our neighborhood isn't the safest, we still get packages delivered to his parents' house. A few months ago, I bought a Coachella ticket, which was sent to his parents' address. Everything seemed fine, until 2 weeks before the festival. My friend, who I was supposed to go with, got COVID, so we decided to sell our tickets. But here's the problem. My ticket never arrived. For weeks, I asked everyone at the house if they'd seen the package. They all said no. We even searched the common areas. Nothing. Now, rewind a month before this chaos. My boyfriend's aunt had casually mentioned to his mom that her boyfriend was selling Coachella tickets. She claimed they came from his niece. At the time, it didn't click that this might be my ticket. Fast forward to the week of Coachella. I was getting anxious because that ticket cost $600, and now I was facing the possibility of driving to the venue, picking up a replacement, and going alone. Then, the day before Coachella, the aunt drops the bombshell. Her boyfriend stole my ticket. They'd been trying to sell it off this entire time. Her excuse? Oh, I didn't know it was your ticket because the package didn't have a name on it. Total lie. It absolutely had my name on it. I was devastated, started shaking and crying. This was someone I trusted, and she just betrayed me like that. To make matters worse, the ticket was likely already sold, so my Coachella plans were completely ruined. My boyfriend was furious. He called his mom to let her know what happened, and she agreed that it was messed up. But his aunt? No apology, just excuses and more lies. I'd had enough. I told her, you know it's illegal to steal someone else's mail, right? I could go to the police for this. She got upset, and I'll admit, I felt a little guilty for escalating things. My boyfriend thought the least she could do was pay us the $600, but that never happened. Since then, we've tried to move on, but I know she's been bad-mouthing me to the rest of the family at family gatherings. I just keep quiet and try to act friendly, even though I'm still hurt. The worst part for me isn't the stolen ticket. It's knowing that someone I trusted could lie to my face and betray me like that, especially when they saw how stressed we were. Now, I can't help but feel like I've caused a rift in my boyfriend's family. His aunt used to be one of his favorites, and I feel responsible for damaging that relationship. Did I overreact? Am I the a-hole for how I handled it? Nope, absolutely not. NTA, not the a-hole, OP. Your boyfriend's aunt is a bad person, and right from the beginning. Yeah, I know she was one of your trusted, close friends, but this is a woman who is currently a grown woman who is living with her sibling alongside. She and her boyfriend are living with her sibling in her sibling's family house because she got kicked out of hers for cheating with her boyfriend, who also didn't have a place to live because now they're both living with the OP's boyfriend's parents. I looked into some of the comments for a bit more information, so apparently this is OP's boyfriend's mother's sister, and she cheated on her husband, was kicked out alongside and moved in along with her affair partner to the OP's boyfriend's parents' house. Now, and this woman had kids with her husband, so she decided to throw her family away for some guy who didn't even have his own place to live. I mean, that's nuts. It's not a far leap that someone who would do all that would stand idly by after her boyfriend stole and tried to sell a $600 concert ticket. I mean, clearly from the situation, the boyfriend doesn't make any choices any better than the aunt, because again, homeless dude hooking up with a married woman, and now, I mean, things are working out great for him. He's got a place to live now. That sounds exactly like the kind of guy who would porch pirate his own residence. Your boyfriend is mad at his aunt because his aunt deserves to have people mad at her. And not only that, after she admitted to how greatly she wronged you, she had the balls to badmouth you to other family members at the family gathering. So clearly, zero remorse, zero attempts to make amends. This is a bad person, and honestly, I can't believe that her sister is still letting her and her mooch of an affair partner live with them. You know, kick them the F out. Jesus. OP, you're not the a-hole. Your boyfriend, if one of my family members did this to somebody, I wouldn't want to talk to them either, even if they didn't do it directly to me. That's just not someone I need in my life. If anything, all you are responsible for is creating a situation where your boyfriend can see what a monster his aunt is and can make the right decision going forward on how much to trust her. And again, if your boyfriend is mad at her and it's his family, then clearly, you know, you're not overreacting. And that's the video, everybody. Did I make the right calls here, or am I in the wrong? Be sure to let me know in the comments. So did you like this content, guys? Is it something you'd like to see come back? Well, if it is, be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Again, guys, we have 3 videos a week, and we have shorts just about every day. Again, still trying to get back into the hang of that. I have been sick, as you still might be able to tell from the vocal quality of this one. It is not my normal voice, but we're getting back there. Until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the show. We hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay. We hope we make you proud. Oh, we're diving deep into the dark and the strange, finding the relics that time couldn't cage. Lost and found, buried underground. Bring it to light what's been hidden and bound. The Chimera stage, we set them free. Mr. Sean, he's got the key. From forgotten cartoons to shadows that creep, both VHS tapes to dusty deep. There's footage from realms that no one's seen, where neckbeard legends haunt the screen. It's the stories left out, the footage too rare. Mr. Sean finds it all and brings it to air. Oh, we're diving deep into the dark and the strange, finding the relics that time couldn't cage. Lost and found, buried underground. Bring it to light what's been hidden and bound. The Chimera stage, we set them free. Mr. Sean, he's got the key.